Ready to have some fun creating? Grab your supplies or just something to drink and come hang out with me. All right, let's get started. Hello and welcome. This is Betty with Betty Franks Art, and so happy to have you here with me today. I am going to be working on a wood panel today, and to be honest with you, I don't remember where I got these wood panels. Here I'm showing you. This one is a bit thinner than the last chunky one that I had worked on, and it might be an ampersand cradled wood panel. But if you just Google that, you're going to find them at, let's see, Blick or Jerry's Artorama or even Cheap Joe's. So any one of those, even your local art store is going to carry cradled wood panels. And I just love these. You know, I've got a ton of these in my inventory that I bought years ago, and I just never did anything with them. I just stopped using them for whatever reason. So I decided to get them out and start using them again. And I'm just back in love with wood panels. Just like working on paper, I just love this very solid, firm surface as opposed to canvas that is a bit bumpy because of the canvas material, and it also bounces back at you, whereas this doesn't bounce back at all. So I really am just back in love with working on wood panels. Now, I started this process with some mark making. I love putting down marks, just very free, loose marks at the beginning, not thinking, not worrying about even which colors I grab. Just I grab whatever I've got in my basket there and just go at it. Now, I've got a couple of different colors that I put down for my dark, and I showed those at the beginning, and now I can't remember. I think carbon black, and then also maybe it was, now I don't remember. I think it was a dark blue color. So I was trying to mix my two blacks together, kind of give it a little bit more depth. I wiped off my brush so that I wouldn't have my water turn quite so dark. Now this here is phthalo turquoise, and I'm using Nova Color paints. If you haven't been watching my videos, then this is probably the first time you're hearing about Nova Color paints, but if you have watched my other videos, first of all, thank you. And also, I'm going to repeat some information that you probably already know. And that is Nova Color is a Southern California company. They do not sell their product in stores. You have to purchase directly from them, and you can do that via their website. I'm going to include all that information down below, where you'll see a number of different links. So it's underneath this video here. And then also I often include all of the links in the first comment under the video. That way it's a little easier for you to find it. So I've been using Nova Color paints for years now and absolutely love their paints. I love the quality of them, the pigmentation, the color selection. I don't think there's anything that I don't like about them. I also love the price of them. They are so affordable that I don't ever worry about my paint and how much of it I use or how much of it dries up on my palette if I don't use it all up. That's like just something that I don't worry about. And ever since I switched to using them, after using Golden, I still have some Liquitex that I like to use, and I use Golden on occasion too. But ever since I switched to using almost 99% Nova Color paints, I don't worry about how much paint I use. And before, when I was using Golden paints, and if you've been using Golden, you know that they're very pricey. They're absolutely gorgeous paints, no question there. But they're so pricey that I used to put down just a little drop to use. And I would feel like, oh my God, it's so precious. You know, it costs so much. I need to be so careful with it. And what I found was when I switched to Nova, and you know, there's small 4-ounce jars, which is what I recommend that you purchase first to test out each color to see if you like it, is those range from anywhere from $5 to $10, depending on which one you get. Super, super affordable. Now, the jar that you see down there, the yellow, which is cadmium yellow medium, is actually in a travel size, so that's not the 4-ounce jar. The ones that I showed you at the very beginning, those are their 4-ounce jars. So super affordable, and I'm telling you, once you get them and try them, you're going to fall in love. I've had people message me saying that they just couldn't believe how much happier they are with their own paintings after using Nova Color paint, because the pigmentation is so outstanding. So anyway, they don't have an affiliate program, so I'm not, telling you all this because I get money for each purchase or anything like that. But do tell them that I sent you, because I like letting them know who's been sending them clients or customers. All right, so let's get back to painting. In the beginning process, as you saw, the mark making first, then I'd like to put down a whole bunch of black, or as I did here, I mixed in some blue to give it a little bit more depth and color. And now I'd like to start with either warm colors or cool colors. On this day, I decided that I'm going to start with cool colors, and that's what I did, using the blues and the greens, mixing my green with the phthalo turquoise to create that green. Now I added a little bit of red. That chubby stick is called a Stabilo Woody, and I love those. They're crayon-like. And then just now I was using a Neocolor 2 crayon. So I'm coming in here and I'm just putting in some marks and some extra colors, just kind of mixing it up a bit, throwing in some scribbles as well, trying to stay loose. Here's my basket of different mark making tools that I like to use. Again, you'll see that in the description below or in the first comment below. I'll include the links for all of my favorite art supplies. And going back to Nova Color paint, what I did, I had so many people asking me what colors should they purchase, because if you go to the Nova Color website, there are so many colors to pick from, and it can be very overwhelming trying to decide what you want to pick. So what I did was I've created a link that will take you to the list of the most common colors that I use, kind of my foundation colors. And then in addition to those, I have a lot of other colors, but it's a way to get you started. So again, that's going to be the link in the description below or in the first comment below. Whoops, I'm hitting my camera there. I think I hit it with my head. It's right above me. So now I'm going to just continue on. And the reason I like to stick with either warm colors or cool colors in the beginning, first working all with cool, letting that dry, and then going to warm, the reason behind that is so that I don't create mud. Now, mud is okay, and brown is a great color as a neutral, but I don't always like that. As you know, if you've been following me, is I love bright, happy colors, and so I keep my colors separated so that they stay bright, happy colors. But neutral is great as well, and neutral is going to make your bright colors pop even more. And I think at the end here, towards the end, I add a little bit of neutral. I'm trying to remember, because I did this probably a month ago or so, so I'm trying to remember exactly, but when we get there, we'll talk about that. Here I'm drawing this layer so that I'm pretty sure I'm going to go right into some warm colors now, but I want to make sure that this layer, there we go. All right, so there's some colors that I'm going to be using. And now that larger jar is the pint size, and the smaller one is the 4-ounce. And the 4-ounce is great for travel as well. Not for carry-on, but for checking into your bags. So staying loose here, I decided to just add some color with my palette knife. And that's just a way to kind of not create brush strokes everywhere. And I'm kind of thinking to myself right now, I really need to remember to do that on my larger pieces too. I have this gigantic, I think it's like a 14-inch palette knife or a palette spatula. I'm not sure what to call it, but I need to give that a try on my larger pieces too. Now, one of my challenges here was trying to keep this artwork in the frame, so I apologize when I go out of frame. I glance up on occasion to make sure that you can see what I'm working on. There I mixed in a little bit of white. I like to use gesso for my white. And so I'm mixing that in, just mixing some colors there. I just love these bright, happy colors. So really staying loose, because when you're working with a palette knife like this, you don't have a ton of control over where it's going. And that's what I love about it. And it also skips over some areas, so you could see like in that upper left corner, a little bit of that green is still peeking through. If you're on social media, you can follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm also on Pinterest. And as you know, I'm here on YouTube. Now, my favorite place to hang out is on Instagram, because I just love all of the other artists that I follow and get inspired to get myself into the studio and start creating again. So you'll see me posting there almost on a daily basis, in addition to posting in my stories. And there I'm scratching right into that wet so that you can kind of see some of those colors underneath. And that's just adding some texture as we go, and interest. My inspiration comes from my love for fields of flowers, and all of my paintings are a reflection of the way I feel about fields of flowers, the way I have my abstracted view of fields of flowers. I think color definitely has a huge role in the way that I create my art. When I look at flowers with various colors, it just brings me so much joy. And I'm trying to bring that onto my canvas, or in this case, wood panel, to share, that feeling of joy that I have. I love the sides of this panel. I think these are 1.5 inch. So a good amount of space to continue creating around the edges. There's, to me, something just so cool looking just at the side, and it's almost like a painting in itself, just looking at the side of it. There, staying loose, using my fingers, something I don't do often enough. It's funny when I look at these videos, and believe it or not, every once in a while, I even watch my own videos, my older ones, to where I used to be a whole lot looser. And I look at those and I think, I think to myself, wow, I need to try to go back to that more loose way of creating the way I used to. Not that I don't love the way I create today, absolutely do. And your art is going to change over time because you're practicing, you're creating, you're doing, you're trying new things, and that's perfectly good, and it's to be expected. But sometimes I like going back and seeing, now how did I create that piece and what were the steps involved? It's a great little refresher for me, even though I still have a hard time recreating anything that I've created in the past. And I'm sure if you're an abstract painter, you probably go through that as well. It's so difficult to recreate layers and colors that were mixed together at the time, and just the way you felt at the time that you were creating. I think all of those things go into a painting. What I'm doing here now is I'm adding some larger elements to my painting, and I'm continuing that around the sides as well. So I've got a lot of smaller things happening and some quiet areas meaning areas that don't have a whole lot of stuff going on in them, and those are all great. But I wanted to add more variety here. I did speed up this video, as you probably figured out. I think it's going at 2 times the rate. I think you can still see what I'm trying to do here. But if you feel the need to slow down the video, you can certainly do that. There's an icon gear under the video where you can choose the speed. Now, I'd recommend that you turn off the volume and turn on subtitles so that I don't sound like I'm totally wasted and drunk and slurring my words. But you can certainly speed it up. Slow it down. Or, well, I guess I can say you can also speed it up even more if you wanted. If you're watching me from another country and you want to have the words translated on the screen, you can click on that where it says CC, the letters CC under the video, which stands for closed caption. And then go to the icon gear, click on that, and go to, I think it's languages or something to that effect. I think you'll be able to easily figure it out. And you can click on auto generate, which will then immediately change it to the language that you prefer. Here I'm using a finer brush. I don't think that's my script brush, but a finer brush. I can make some nice little circles with that. I use a variety of different brushes, and they're not the most expensive brushes. I tend to go for the more cheaper ones because, as you can see, I really can destroy my brushes. So try out a variety of different ones. I like the ones with the longer bristles on them, some shorter, some are flat, filbert, round. You've got to try a variety and see what you like. But in the process of painting, I like to try to switch it out at least a couple of times so that it adds more interest to the painting and it's not the same size brush strokes throughout. Look at that side. I love it. Now introducing more medium-size shapes over on the lower left area. And that helps balance it out with the ones that I have that are a bit larger over on the right side. So I didn't want to make them the exact same size, but similar so that there's a little bit of weight added to the left side, if that makes sense. Weighs it down a bit on that side. Now, I've talked about values before and the importance of values in your paintings. I also created a video where I'm creating just using black and white paint and different mark making tools using black and white. And I will put that above here so that you can take a look at it if you'd like to see or to work with me and create a black and white painting so that you can practice your values. Now, why are values so important? They're important because that's where your eye is going to be drawn first. And values on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 9, I talk about the scales in that video, but it doesn't matter if it's whatever the scale is. Just know that at one end is the really dark and the other end is really light. And your eye is going to be drawn to a painting where the lightest area meets the darkest area. So keep that in mind when you're creating where the eye ends up going. Now here I have switched back over to cool colors because I felt like I had too many warms and I wanted to just add some more cool colors in there. And I really love that green that I'm creating with that phthalo turquoise and some yellow. So there I'm balancing it out, although you can't really see it, but the bottom left corner's got a more solid area of green, and then I made those, horizontal type marks on the right side in a similar color. Now those horizontal marks typically represent my love for stepping stones, although those are a bit more narrow, but that's okay. And of course, some of these larger elements represent flowers, even the smaller ones, you know, the circles, the oblong shapes, the lines representing stems, blades of grass. So here I'm painting with some of that yellow, but that blue is still fresh, and I love that, just mixing a little bit of that color as I go. That orange is not quite dry. Spreading that paint out, hoping it'll dry sooner. I'm located in California, where our humidity is not very high. It tends to be somewhere around 50%. So these dry fairly quickly because it's a nice thin layer of paint. But the paint on my palette really doesn't dry out that fast. Although I typically just put out the amount that I think I'm going to be using. All of these smaller paintings I tend to create when I'm on Zoom with some friends. We get together every week and just spend time creating, chatting, catching up, talking business and life and all that good stuff. I find that I really love creating when my mind is focused on something else. So in this case, I'm busy chit-chatting with them. I think sometimes you'll see my hands gesturing or because I'm talking with them. But the other thing I love to do, especially when I'm at the studio, I have a large studio in downtown San Jose, and I absolutely love creating and listening to words being spoken. So that could be, let me stop real quick. So I'm using a sponge sandpaper sponge. I think that's what it's called. So what I was doing is I was just knocking back some of the area in there where I had made the marks into the wet paint, and I felt they were sticking up a little bit too much. So I made sure that was dry and then just sanded it down a little bit. Okay, going back to when I'm creating large, if I'm not chit-chatting with somebody and I'm just by myself, which is typically my downtown studio where I'm by myself, I love to listen to spoken words. So that can be podcasts, that can be even something on YouTube where I'm not looking at what they're doing, but I'm listening to what they're doing. And also I love to just listen to audiobooks. So that engages my left brain to listen to the words being spoken so that the right brain can freely create and not get criticism from the left brain. Because whenever we're in the studio, and I don't remember who said this, but we're never in there alone. We've got this critique on our shoulder all the time telling us, or making comments like, what are you doing? Why are you putting down that color? Why would you do that? That looks like crap. Oops, excuse me. I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, things like that. So, we're never alone when we're creating. But if you spend time, I was trying to do a close-up there. If you spend time listening to the spoken word in whatever format you like, it just really frees up your ability to just create and not allow yourself to critique what you're doing. So if you haven't done that, or if you haven't tried doing that, I really encourage you to give it a try. And if you have done it, leave me a note below. Let me know if that's been working for you or if it hasn't. I don't think it works for everybody. I know some folks just prefer to listen to music and they can create so much better when they're listening to music, but I find the opposite to be true for me. I do my best creating when I'm listening to the spoken word. So let me know your thoughts about that. We're coming close to the end of this one. So that middle area, I was really trying to create a lighter area. Again, talking about values. I wanted a really light area because I've got some dark areas already. Now, if you are unsure about your values, one thing that I love to do is I love to take a picture, crop it, and then convert it to a black and white. And then I can see, do I have enough light areas and dark areas, and are they well balanced? Or, are they all just jumbled up in one area, or are they kind of spread out around so that the eye can move around? Here I'm looking at the sides, trying to figure out if there's something more I can be doing. This one is a fun balance of the warm colors and the cool colors. Lately I've been doing a lot of pieces that are just in a very limited palette, so it was kind of fun to go back to creating with a lot more color in it. Coming through again, I felt like this just needed lightening up even more. This one I ended up titling Sunny Days. Going right back over some of those areas. When I go back over areas, I always leave the edges the same, the color from the previous layer, and that creates more depth. And this size, I believe, if I remember correctly, this is an 8 by 8 inch. Really fun size to create on. If you'd like to learn how to create the way I do, I've got a online workshop that is a recording from a workshop I did, and it's available for purchase. I'm going to leave a link down below so that you can check that out. It's 2 hours of creating together, step by step. I also include a section on harmonizing your colors so that they all work together and they play well together, creating a very cohesive piece at the end. And then I'm available via email to answer any questions you have. I think I'm drying this because I believe I am done. I want to do some mark making. Oh, maybe not. Oh, here we go. Do some splatters. I love doing splatters. Again, can't control them, and they just add another layer of interest. Now you want to get a good amount of water on your brush to get those splatters going. Okay, so maybe there was too many splatters, so I decided to take a few of them out. Drying it one more time, making sure everything is dry all the way around. Now, oftentimes I like to let it dry overnight, but when I'm working this small, it is going fairly quickly, so I'd like to get it all done. All right, so we've come back. Maybe I did wait overnight. Hard to tell. So I'm going to take out some of my mark making tools. That first one that's kind of orangey, the dark one, that is a watercolor pencil. And then I've got Prismacolor pencils, I've got a China marker, I've got a woody. The big larger one is a Stabilo woody. Again, I've got all of these in the link below. That is my favorite art supplies. So I often pick colors that are similar to the ones that are already in the painting so that they can complement what I've already done. This one here is my favorite tealish color. That's a Prismacolor pencil. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do that. You can see in the bottom right corner is a round circle in a tealish color because that is my favorite. And if you click on that, you'll be able to subscribe to my channel. And I believe that works only when you are on your computer or your laptop. If you're on your phone, you can just go right below this video to subscribe. This here white one is a China marker or a grease pencil. So these finishing touches are kind of fun. I'm just adding some more marks, maybe enhancing something that I've already done. Here I'm just adding some dots. So smaller elements, larger elements. This is just a regular pencil. I love putting down scribbles. And then there, that's an eraser. The scribbles, sometimes I like to just erase back a little bit of them. I think that was just another pencil that I had. And this one here is a watercolor pencil. And again, erasing back a little bit. So now I'm going to show you what I have here. So these are soft pastels. I just have one of these small boxes, and I wanted to add just a touch of those colors because they're really bright, vibrant colors. There you go, blue all the way across. I love that color. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. That lets me know that you're liking the content that I'm producing, but also it really helps with letting YouTube know that you like the video and that they should serve it up to other folks. And so you're not just helping me, but you're helping a lot of other artists such as yourself who enjoy watching this type of art being created, and then it's going to end up showing up in their feed as well. So thank you in advance for giving me a thumbs up. This is also another soft pastel. And one more. Just love these colors, and it's working really well. I'm just enhancing some paint marks that I made. Okay, so I think I'm close to done. Let's see if I sign it. Nope. Let's go with some more soft pastels. Really love the way this one turned out. Just all of my happy colors going on. This here is another type of crayon. I've had this for, I want to say, like 20 years. I forget the maker of that one, but it's similar to the other crayons, just a different, it's kind of a softer color. All right, I am signing it. I like to sign in pencil. That way if I mess it up, I can easily erase it. I brought another cradled wood panel next to me so that my hand can be at the same level for signing. I have slowed down the video here, so we're back to normal speed so that you can see the close-up pictures. And I think I've got a few pictures at the end. Not sure that I got the close-ups though, so this is your chance to see all the juicy detail. And there's my signature down there. And I think I'm going to show you the sides of this as well. Here we go. Love, love, love the sides. If you haven't worked on cradled wood, I'd really recommend it. If you'd like working on a flat surface, like I love working on paper especially, and this is very similar to in terms of feel. So give that a try and let me know what you think about that. And these are great because they can also just stand up on a shelf or on a desk somewhere. They don't have to always, you know, be hanging on the wall. All right, so there's the piece. And calling it done. So here I wanted to show you, I like to use workable fixative, so I spray this outside because it's very toxic, and then I like to use a gloss varnish on these small pieces because it just brings out the shine more. So I'm going to include a link that will show you how I like to varnish art, paper, canvas, or wood like this. So there's some side views there. Thank you so much for joining me today, for hanging out with me, having a drink with me, and I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, please give me a thumbs up if you have. Here's another video for you to watch, and you can also subscribe here if you haven't already. All right, folks, wishing you a super fabulous and colorful day. Take care.